Water is life. 2/3 of the Earth is water, and science confirms that our human bodies are 70% water. Water is not only essential for our bodies and ensuring that we have healthy brains, but water can be found in mostly everything. We all know that we need clean water to keep our bodies hydrated and healthy, but water is also crucial for cleaning and sanitation. Without water, our crops wouldn't grow, and we would have very little on our shop shelves to eat. More than ever, we have been made aware of the dire consequences of not preparing for our limited water future. While natural rainfall is the ultimate source for a fresh water supply, the localized drought in various parts of South Africa have prevented this from being a dependable option. This, along with wastage and population explosion, has put tremendous pressure on all our natural water resources. Many methods have been adopted, from water-efficient products to limitation of consumption. However, a more proactive, sustainable approach is needed to tackle this life-threatening calamity. Ndlambe Municipality's vision is to strive to be the perfect place to work, play, and stay on the eastern coast of South Africa. It strives to be the destination of choice for people who love natural and cultural heritage, adventure water sports, and laid-back living, just perfect for families. It is promised to build a state-of-the-art infrastructure which will be laid out aesthetically in the beautiful natural environment. The prosperous community supports a safe and healthy lifestyle, which is supported by affordable natural living and a vibrant tourism industry in an agriculturally based economy. The municipality promotes good governance by providing sustainable, efficient, cost-effective, adequate and affordable services to all Ndlambe citizens. The potential within this region is limitless, given its natural beauty and geographic positioning. Its major towns are Port Alfred, Bathurst, and Alexandria. Port Alfred is the most sought-after holiday destination on Route 72. Port Alfred has a population of approximately 11,000 residents. It is situated on the eastern coastline of South Africa, at the mouth of the Kawi River, almost halfway between the two largest cities in the Eastern Cape, Port Elizabeth and East London. Known fondly as the heart of the Sunshine Coast, Port Alfred is an idyllic seaside holiday destination. Port Alfred is also an up-and-coming small and big business hub, with tremendous opportunities for investors. It is home to many internationally renowned training institutions. Bathurst has a population of around 8,000 people and is situated 12 kilometers inland of Port Alfred. Many of the original settler houses and older buildings have been preserved, and there remains much of the look and feel of an English village from the early 19th century. Ndlambe Municipality incorporates beauty as well as village and town life. In Bathurst, an area known as Pineapple Country, lies a pineapple farm known as Summerhill Pineapple Farm, which was established by the 1820 settlers. The big pineapple represents the region's pineapple industry. There is an ever-increasing population of artists, academics with Rhodes University, Grahamstown being only 40 kilometers away, and retirees. Ndlambe local municipality has had challenges regarding ongoing water shortages. This is mainly due to inadequate sources, as well as aging and inefficient systems. With predicted future growth, preparing for a sustainable and adequate future water supply has now become a priority. The current waiting list for housing in Ndlambe is 14,001 beneficiaries. The bulk of 71% of the beneficiaries reside in Port Alfred and Bathurst. New housing developments cannot proceed without access to additional water resources. Information derived from the most recent Stats SA census figures project a growth rate of 1.1% per annum, a water demand of approximately 20.5 megalitres per day by the year 2046. A study was commissioned to identify additional water sources to address the projected water demand. Currently, Port Alfred and Bathurst's water demand exceeds the available supply. The shortfall in supply and water quality has been problematic for several years. The main water source for Port Alfred is the Sarl Haywood Dam with a firm yield of 4.3 megalitres per day, upgradable to 5 megalitres per day. The East Bank dune system consists of 5 wells and collector system with a yield of 0.4 megalitres per day. This water requires no desalination. The Central Belt borehole system consists of 3 boreholes with a yield of 1.2 megalitres per day with high salinity. This water requires desalination. The current yield of the Port Alfred combined water sources is approximately 5.9 megalitres per day. Once treated, this is reduced to 5 megalitres per day. The potential yield, if the system upgrade is implemented, is approximately 6.6 megalitres per day. If treated, this will be reduced to 5.7 megalitres per day. The main water sources for Bathurst: the Mansfield Dam with a firm yield of 0.2 megalitres per day, and the Golden Ridge Dam with a firm yield of 0.4 megalitres per day. The current yield of the Bathurst combined water sources is approximately 0.6 megalitres per day. If treated, this is reduced to 0.5 megalitres per day. The current Port Alfred and Bathurst combined water supply demand is 8.7 megalitres per day. The current combined potable water available is 5.5 megalitres per day. The current potable water shortfall is therefore 3.2 megalitres per day. This does not allow for any room for growth and development in Port Alfred and Bathurst.
Bathurst has got the pineapple. Now, in order for us to nurture that pineapple, we need water. So this program is going to assist not only the commercial part of it, it's going to assist to improve the local economic of that area. It's also going to make sure that it creates job opportunities for the people of that area. There are areas where we're supposed to build houses. It is a requirement from human settlement before they approve a project. You must have a bulk water infrastructure for you to be able to deliver those houses. Currently, we're supposed to be building 780 here in Port Alfred. Now, the problem for us to start is water. Let it away the EIEA processes. But the major challenge that we have is water. Now, if we can able to improve the issue of water, it's not only the project of building houses and assisting agriculture. Also, in terms of investment, there is no one who wants to come and invest here in Port Alfred because we have challenges of water. Now, if there are no investments that are coming in, how are we going to change the lives of our people? Because our money that we're given, even by the political party that they deploy us here, is to build a better life for all, is to change the life of our people. So, if we're unable to address the issue of water, we won't be able to achieve the vision of our deployment.
From the technical point of view, when you are having one source of water, it becomes a problem and you're putting a strain into your pipes whereby you are only drawing from one source of water. Then when you've got a major burst pipe, that's where the popo hits the fan. Recently, we have this major burst pipe of 350, and it has affected the whole of Port Alfred. Our boreholes that we have at Wellfield are not enough. They are not giving us the yield that is required.
You can imagine a situation where in the middle of December, where everybody has come to Port Alfred, enjoying the holidays. Port Alfred, Kenyon-on-Sea, partly Bathurst, Alexandria, and also Bushmans. Now, in the middle of that, we have to cut water. There is no water. You just have to communicate to those communities that on a certain day we won't be having water. It's a very, very, very difficult situation. It also makes them to be very reluctant to come to these areas like Port Alfred.
A bulk pipeline has been considered to supply water from the Sandile Dam. This project's estimated cost is of such a magnitude that funding could not be made available in the foreseeable future. Alternative, more cost-effective options are therefore being considered. Seawater desalination and wastewater reclamation are the only two options that remain as viable options for consideration. Seawater desalination has a high running cost due to energy demand and the cost of electricity. Wastewater reclamation is used successfully for domestic purposes, both within South Africa and internationally. The technology is continuously improving and has become an option worth considering. The Department of Water and Sanitation's National Strategy for Water Reuse was released in June 2011. An interview with Mr. Andrew Lucas from the Department of Water and Sanitation reveals the intention of this strategy.
From our department side, we acknowledge that South Africa is a water-stressed country, and to manage water in a water-stressed country, we have to have a national water resource strategy. We developed our first strategy in 2004, and we've revised it in 2013. And this strategy has identified certain areas like the Ndlambe area where there is already showing a lack of sufficient water resources to meet the needs. And our strategy has looked at options of building our water mix, and recycling of effluent is one of those options that is looked at in our reconciliation strategies. So we as a department see that as time goes on, the introduction of a recycled water is going to be important in meeting our water needs, and also a growing opportunity across South Africa. Currently, we are using about 14% recycled water informally. And so most of our rivers where we abstract water, there are users upstream that have returned their effluents into that river. And so already informally, we are recycling water. Our policy does develop a recycled policy. So Appendix D of our National Water Resource Strategy sets out the policy for water recycling. And in that policy, we've had a look at the process that needs to be followed. First thing is that there must be public consultation. The public must be well informed and must be educated to understand the reuse of water, and that their opinions are taken into account. Then the policy also needs to look at the technology that will be introduced, and there are various technologies that have become available that form both the treatment and the barriers to improve the effluent quality and to ensure that the recycled water would be of a right quality. Then we also need to look at the water quality variables that we need to be delivering, and then the cost and the implications of cost of the infrastructure and tariff setting. Lastly, we would have to look at effective operations and maintenance of that scheme. And it's critical that our municipality is in a position to manage the infrastructure completely to ensure that the infrastructure delivers what was planned. The reuse of effluent is practiced quite widely across the world in a number of countries, and one close example is Namibia, where they've been recycling effluent directly into potable water for the last 40 years. In South Africa, we have about 6 municipalities that have piloted this, and I think the most prominent one is Beaufort West, where they are taking recycled water and blending it back with groundwater as a potable water source. So we are really learning how we can use this water source as a mix into our future water needs. The policy of the department, as has been prepared in the National Water Resource Strategy, does require that where municipalities have an area of water shortage, that they consider the feasibility of reuse of effluents as part of their water mix. And the department has also committed to support those municipalities through various projects such as the Water Research Commission, and then also to set up an information hub, possibly linked to our Blue Drop and our Green Drop systems, where information can be retained, captured, and also provided to the sector to ensure that both the infrastructure that is being managed correctly to meet the quality requirements that are expected out of an effluent treatment plant, and especially a recycling and recovery treatment plant that is going to be used for community water. We must realize that often we are a wasteful society, and some of our waste has a lot of value. So an effluent that we think is wastewater is actually a valuable water source. And in a couple of years' time, we're going to be realizing that. And it's very critical that we do optimize as much as possible. If we have poorly operating systems, we in many cases are throwing valuable money away that we could be utilizing to better run our systems and provide a better living environment for our communities.
The professional team, in collaboration with municipal staff, identified 5 alternative water supply options for consideration. Option 1. Blend pre-treated wastewater and seawater at a 1:1 ratio. A wastewater reclamation process needs to meet strict treatment criteria, requiring several treatment barriers to be installed to eradicate the possibility of the production of contaminated permeate. Reverse osmosis desalination is the blended water's final treatment process. Option 2. Treat wastewater effluent through all required filtration barriers and blend at a 2:1 ratio with permeate from seawater reverse osmosis plant. Option 3. Pre-treat wastewater effluent through all required filtration barriers at the Port Alfred Wastewater Treatment Works. Treated water would then be pumped to Port Alfred Brackwater Reverse Osmosis Plant. The Brackwater Reverse Osmosis Plant will have to be augmented. An additional reverse osmosis unit would need to be installed for the high salt concentration to treat brine from Brackwater Reverse Osmosis Plant. Option 4. Full seawater desalination at Wastewater Treatment Works. And option 5. Blend wastewater effluent and seawater at a 1:1 ratio. Pre-treat blended water through all the required barriers at the wastewater treatment works. Pump blended water to the additional reverse osmosis plant for further treatment to potable water standards. Energy demand and associated electricity costs are the largest contributors to the operating costs of desalination plants. The socio-economic position of residents living in Port Alfred and Bathurst must be considered. It is therefore critical to view operating costs as one of the key decision-making factors. An operating cost comparison was done for the 5 options. It is clear that option 1, 2 and 3 are, from an operating cost point of view, to be considered as the most favourable options. The jurisdiction area of the Ndlambe local municipality suffers ongoing water shortages. The chronic shortage of water in the local towns has severe negative effects on expansion of urban housing projects, hygienic living conditions for all, flushing toilets, etc., and investor confidence for future developments in the area. It is with the consideration of the advanced technologies that the foregoing proposals have been possible. The proposals are based on internationally accepted systems, involving advanced filtration and reverse osmosis techniques.
Here, filters called membranes effectively remove anything larger than a water molecule. A water molecule is made up of just 3 atoms. Potentially harmful compounds contain far greater numbers of atoms and as such are too large to pass through. These include chemical contaminants and microorganisms such as viruses and bacteria. At barrier 3, water undergoes microfiltration by passing through bundles of tiny plastic straws. This process is commonly used in the production of bottled water, beer and soft drink, and to sterilise medicines. Water is forced through microscopic holes thinner than 1/300th of a human hair. This step removes microorganisms including most bacteria and some viruses. The water must then pass through barrier 4, where reverse osmosis takes place. Here, water is filtered through dozens of membranes, similar to sheets of plastic. Water is squeezed under very high pressure through holes 100 times smaller than a virus. Reverse osmosis is also used in desalination and in many home water filtration units. At barrier 5, advanced oxidation provides an additional layer of protection. Water passes through a chamber where UV light, hundreds of times stronger than the sun's rays, reacts with an additive, hydrogen peroxide. By the end of this barrier, any remaining chemicals or impurities are reduced to harmless levels, well below safe drinking water standards.
Reverse osmosis desalination is the blended water's final treatment process. Final stage treatment of all water sources ensures that all bacteria, endocrine inhibitors, salts and odours are removed, yielding a super clean product. Since the conventional water sources in the area are at a limit, it has become imperative to reclaim or reuse water. The inclusion of reclaimed water as a water source significantly reduces the final cost per kilolitre and/or to desalinate seawater, to ensure an adequate, sustainable and safe water supply. It is recommended that option 1 and 2 be considered for future study and ultimate implementation. It is recommended that the Port Alfred Wastewater Treatment Works and associated pre-treatment modules for reuse and seawater desalination be managed by an external specialist contractor to ensure that the plant is operated at world-class standards. The external specialist contractor is to work closely in collaboration and partner with municipal staff. Training will be conducted on continuous basis. Accredited training is advisable. These 2 options present an ideal opportunity to optimally utilize the new Port Alfred water treatment works to facilitate remineralization and a final blend between all water sources. As stakeholders and co-investors in the communities we live in, it is our joint responsibility to manage and regulate our natural resources, to ensure that our communities and our children's children can enjoy the fruit of our decisions and actions. This will position Ndlambe Municipality as visionaries for their region's development and progress, and position themselves for sustainable and long-term success. Our investment today ensures a sustainable and better tomorrow for our community and our children.